So I was watching a tutorial video on CodeSTACKR's YouTube channel, so definitely check him out and subscribe to him. He has a cool video that kind of shows you how you can potentially mint 10,000 NFTs, and I think it almost has like 1 million views, this video right here. So I was watching this video, and he made a bunch of CodeCat NFTs, and I kind of wanted to buy one as long as like it was like cheap, like $5, just for the sake of it. But it turns out that he only releases like 100 every week or so, so I needed to kind of get notified when one of these NFTs has been released and it has the ability to buy. So what we're going to be showing in this video is how do you write a script to basically periodically check OpenSeas.io and more specifically check a certain NFT using this URL and see if there's a buy now button. That's what we're going to build out, and to do that we are going to be using Puppeteer and also some an API where I can basically hit the API and it's going to send my phone a text message. So keep in mind, this is just a really quick overview of how you could potentially do this. I'm not going to do a live coding, but to get started, I kind of added a script to an existing project, but the main things that you need to include is Puppeteer, Puppeteer Extra, and Puppeteer Plugin Stealth. Now the reason we include these is because there's a Cloudflare. I think OpenSeas is hosted on Cloudflare, so there's like a certain type of security measures set up so that I can't hit this with like Node.js scripts. I have to actually like fake my request to make it seem like I'm opening this in a Chrome browser. So make sure you install these if you wanted to try to web crawl OpenSeas. And then I have a script here. So basically this script, we're going to import those packages here. So we bring in Puppeteer, Puppeteer Extra, which allows you to kind of set up plugins. We're going to be using Axios to do requests, and then we kind of import this stealth plugin and then tell Puppeteer to use it. So that should be pretty straightforward. One thing I forgot to mention, in order to get Puppeteer to work on your laptop, you need to have Chromium installed. So if you're doing this on Ubuntu or something, there's like a large list of things you need to have installed, which I have in the setup script. But again, this repo is probably going to stay private for a little bit. But I'm just going to show you the overview. So include all those packages. So we basically want to have an interval fire like every 10 minutes or every 5 minutes to basically go to that URL on OpenSeas and download the entire page. So we are going to hard code a page constant here and point to an NFT. 147 actually has a buy now button, so that's why I'm doing it here. But this one down here that's commented out does not have a buy now button, so we kind of do that with testing, or we kind of use that for testing. And the next step is we want a function that can basically be called to send my phone a text message. Okay, so I'm just going to use a free API called textbelt.com, but I'm sure there's other ones out there like Twilio, or I think it's called Twilio. But basically I have my phone number in an environment variable so you all can't see it. But when you call this message, it's just going to say that there's an NFT ready to buy, right? So I get notified within 5 minutes of the NFT being listed, so I can go on and buy it if I want to. And we're going to use this method later on, so keep that in mind. Now the next step is we want this script to actually run some type of function. So I'm just going to make a main function and call it. And I'm going to make it async because I like doing async awaits on all my function calls. And inside of here, what we could do is just launch a Puppeteer browser. So I'm going to say await Puppeteer launch. That's going to kind of create a headless browser where we can actually interact with a web page, look at DOM elements, click on buttons, etc. And we're going to do this to basically make sure that the page loads and we can see that there's a button called buy now. So the next step is you want to use that browser to open up a new page. It's kind of like opening up a new tab if you're doing it manually. And then in that page, and then we're going to set an interval. This is kind of like what we're going to do, the check every 5 minutes to see if that page, if that OpenSeas page has a buy now button. So I'm going to make a set interval here and just say every 5 minutes or 10 minutes, call a function called check collection, which we haven't created. So I'm going to create that function and we are going to call it right when the script runs, right? So when I first run the script, I wanted to do all this logic right off the bat. I don't want it to wait like 10 minutes before it runs it. So I'm just doing that now to kind of like call the function after we defined it. All right, so inside this check collections function, what we want to do is we want to tell Puppeteer to basically take that page and go to that OpenSea constant that we have declared, okay? So that's going to go to the page and basically it's going to wait until there's no more like network things going on in Puppeteer. So we'll do that and then the page should be fully loaded. And at that point you can think, okay, now we can actually query or use a selector to find elements on the page. So we're going to basically use a selector. So you do page, money sign is how you can get an array, or basically tell it to select all elements that have button. Now again, I'm not an expert at Puppeteer. There's probably a faster way to like just find a button that has buy now, but this is like the quickest thing I could figure out. So we want to loop through all the buttons and just check if any of them have a buy now in the description. So super hacky, but basically we're saying loop over the buttons. we're going to do the sum function. Basically, if your callback function returns true for any of these, then this will be true. So we just need to find one that happens to have a buy now in the text. So next we're going to say page.evaluate. We're going to pass it a callback function, and that callback function is going to tell us what we want to grab from the DOM element. So we're just going to just grab the text contents, and then we pass it the actual like puppeteer element that we got. So this should give us the text that's associated with the button. And then we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to check to see if this has offset. This is how you can kind of check if the button is visible on the page or not, because a lot of React apps and Vue apps might have the actual DOM element there, but it could be hidden with CSS or something. So we want to make sure it's actually visible and enabled for us to buy. And once that's set up, we can actually just return the combination of those. So make sure that the text includes buy now, and also make sure that the button is visible. So at this point, you could probably think to yourself, okay, if the button is visible and we're good to go, we could just have an if statement and say if as buy now button is there, if it's set to true, we could just send out that text message. So that's kind of all we need to do. This should send out the text message to my phone. And if we save this, let me try running this and make sure this actually works. I'm going to say node scripts, and then I'm going to run this. And we do have a little issue. I probably forgot to do an async somewhere right here. I'll do an async. In fact, you may not be able to do an async inside of sum, so I may have to refactor this just a little bit. But let's just go ahead and see what happens. Yeah, so by now this should have probably sent me a text message to my phone. Let's see. This is ready to buy. 147 is ready to buy. And I actually just got a text on my phone saying that the NFT is ready to buy. I'll show you that right now, but my webcam just isn't good at focusing on that stuff. Now, I am kind of curious why this works, because typically when you're doing async in some type of callbacks like this, it doesn't necessarily work. So I'm kind of concerned about this. What I would actually do is refactor this back to just a normal for loop. I'll probably say like some constant button of buttons. Just do a normal loop like that. I'll say let this be false, and then we are just going to run that same code here. And I'm going to go ahead and just do that, and then run a break if that's true. If this is true, I'm going to break out of the loop. All right, so again, this isn't the most like thought out code. I'm just trying to get something that works. Let me try to run this one more time. So it does take a little while to kind of spin up. It has to spin up Puppeteer and then load the page and then process the JavaScript on the page. And then finally, it should send me another text message. So let's just make sure I do get a text message. So for some reason, it didn't actually send me out the text message this time. I'm not sure if maybe there's some type of like throttling going on with the text messaging SMS system called text belt. Let's just try it one more time and see what happens. Okay, so I mean, it says it's sending it out. I don't know if maybe there's like my phone number isn't set up correctly, or text belt has some type of limits of how many messages you can send out. But that's basically how you do it. Now the next step is I would kind of take this code and I want to kind of publish this to a server. So I do have a server set up. Let me just go ahead and make sure I can kind of commit some of this code. The OpenSeas, this is all good. All right, let me just commit this real quick and show you what's going on. So I'm going to do add all, commit, and then push that to master. And then I have another terminal over here that's actually into my Ubuntu box that's on DigitalOcean. I could simply just do a git pull, and that should grab those changes. And then I can actually say export phone is equal to, I'm probably going to cut this part out. So I exported my phone to a variable, and now what I can do is I can say pm2 start scripts check OpenSea. So if this works, I want to make sure I can actually see the logs here. Failed to launch the browser process. All right, let me just run it the old-fashioned way and make sure this actually works. Failed to launch the browser process. Did I not install this? I might not have a Chromium in browser actually installed. Yeah, I think I forgot to install the Chromium browser on my DigitalOcean box. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into this script and just go ahead and keep track of things that I have installed and what I need to install. I'm going to run that over on my DigitalOcean box. That should install Chromium, and then Puppeteer should hopefully be able to find it. I mean, to be honest, like, you don't need to see me set up this DigitalOcean box. I just need to install a dependency and everything should be good. Oh wait, okay, now it's actually doing something. All right, let's try it one more time. I'm going to try running that script and just see if it actually does something. Yeah, so we keep getting this strange error. I don't really know. I'm not going to continue this video kind of showing you how I debug this. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed watching this video, give me a thumbs up. So basically, we learned how to periodically check OpenSea to see if an NFT could be purchased, basically. And then we send out an SMS message to my phone number if that NFT is available. So hopefully you learned something about, you can use, what you can use Puppeteer for. It's really great for like loading up pages that a simple curl command doesn't seem to work for. And that was the case with OpenSea's because they have it hosted behind Cloudflare, which I guess prevents hitting their pages with a script. I mean, you could probably do it with curl or like, node fetch or Axios, but there's probably a lot of other headers that you have to set, or like set up cookies so it actually recognizes that you're like a real browser. But I didn't want to spend too much time trying to figure that out, so I just went with Puppeteer. It's a great little tool to kind of parse and scrape web pages. It's a little slow though because it uses, actual Chromium behind the scenes. But yeah, if you enjoyed watching this video, give me a thumbs up. Also, be sure to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell icon if you're new, because I'm going to have other videos like this that should hopefully help you learn a little bit about web development and how to become a better web developer. And like always, leave a comment below if you have any questions or comments or concerns about the approach taken in this video, or if you have an idea that you want to see me kind of implement related to this NFT stuff that I've been kind of working on. Cool. Happy coding and have a good day.